Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guest Dawn Marcotte. How are you doing, Dawn?
Great. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And I would leave the rest of the intro with Dawn, but she's a great business coach, and let's hear from her. Dawn, if you can give us your intro.
Oh, okay. So I'm a mom. I have two kids, and I started a business in July of 2020 after getting laid off from my corporate job, as so many people got, it happened to a lot of people. But I've been a freelance writer for many, many years on the side, in addition to my corporate job. So I've written on things from parenting. I have a child on the autism spectrum, so I was very active in that field for a while, writing and creating a website and doing different things there. But when I lost my job, I thought, I've got all these years of experience. I would love to share them with people who are, like I said, newly out of work. And a lot of people decided, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try and build my own business. I have no idea what to do. So that's kind of the thrust of my business, is to help new entrepreneurs or people that have maybe had a brick and mortar business and have tried to shift online. And it's a completely different animal. So they don't, things don't always work the same way in both areas. So to help them out as well.
Okay, great. So you were working in corporate world for many years, I assume, right?
Yep. I was some form of an executive assistant for 25 plus years at a variety of large corporations.
Wow, great. And also, how do you find, so far with the pandemic, it has really affected a lot of business. So where do you see where we are, and what do you think we can do?
Wow. Well, it kind of ebbs and flows, I think, for a lot of people. When it first started, of course, there was all kinds of anxiety and what's going to happen. And there's still some of that. I think some people, like my oldest daughter, both my kids are still at home. My oldest daughter, who is the one that's on the spectrum, is also an introvert. So she barely noticed that anything had changed because she already did school online. And while she does have a job, she still has that job. So she still goes and does that. So it was barely a blip on her radar, to be honest, because nothing really changed for her. But my other child, who's in high school and is now, at home full-time doing school at home, at first it was kind of fun because, I don't have to go to school. But now it's been going on for so long that it's really stressful. It's really hard to not have that regular social interaction with her friends. And I think that's true with a lot of us, that it was okay for a while. Maybe it kind of felt like we were playing hooky a little bit, from school or work or whatever, but now not so much anymore. And that it's so important to have that personal contact. I really applaud people like my dad, who has a regular set of friends that, on Monday they do a Zoom call together with this person. And on Tuesday, it's this other group. And on Wednesday, it's this other group, because he's self-isolated. So he doesn't leave his apartment ever, pretty much, because he's 80 something. And so I think that's wonderful that he's taken the initiative to reach out to people and set up that kind of schedule.
Okay. So, and where do you see, a lot of businesses, as you know, hurting with COVID, and they're, as we have seen, probably 50 or more % of restaurant business is gone,
Yeah.
And so where do you see those, any light at the end of the tunnel, or what should we be doing?
I do. I have been so amazed, because when I started my business, one of the first places I went to was Facebook for social media, to start reaching out to people. And the number specifically of women who have been impacted, have lost a job, and have decided, you know what, I'm going to take my passion and I'm going to turn it into a business is absolutely amazing. It's just a huge, huge influx of people that have decided that, they're comfortable on the internet. They've been there socially, whatever. They're going to try and have a business. And it's been absolutely amazing. So I have seen a lot of people who have lost their jobs kind of falter a little bit, but then, realize that they really have a passion around something. And it could be anything. I've seen ladies that have a business based around helping other women who have sleep
Mm.
issues because of the stress and the
Okay.
anxiety that's going on right now. So they built a whole business around helping other people work through that so that we can be healthier. And it's not just the business coaching or the consulting or the fitness coaching or things like that. I mean, it's all across the board with passions and ideas that they have knowledge around. And so they reach out and they find people who need help with that and build a business. It's been amazing. I really think the internet is kind of the great equalizer because you don't have to have a business degree. It doesn't matter if you're taking care of kids or you're taking care of your mom and dad or you've lost your job or whatever. All those things that would normally in a brick and mortar business be something that could stop you because you don't have the time or you don't have the money or you don't have whatever, right?
Mm.
But when you're on the internet, that's not true anymore. You can take it at your own pace. You don't have to work 12 hours a day. There are plenty of women or people out there who just work 1 or 2 hours in the evening after the kids go to bed to build their business. And over time, they are successful and they create another revenue stream coming into their house.
So I think that is really very creative, and I think you're absolutely right. One avenue has closed, probably the what we had, but we have seen a phenomenal growth of those businesses which are based on kind of Amazon model, or I would say where their warehouses, where the people are working from home, and then we can really go to actually next level, even better than the traditional model where there were open shops, mall. I think we can support small businesses. And there was a story I was watching yesterday, and it was pretty good, that the restaurant in a small town had, of course, a space and then restaurant portion. And because of COVID and their business has gone down, they have changed the restaurant portion into grocery and, kind of small mini market, I would say, where they would display local products from the local farm.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I've seen a lot of that too, where people have just gotten really creative
Yeah.
in what they can do, and they just shift a little bit, and all of a sudden it'll take off like that. That's a great idea.
So they're encouraging. It was very fascinating to see, so they said they kind of know local products market and whoever was making, and they would share there, and everybody would actually buy it because to support the local economy.
Sure.
So I think there is definitely a new way to actually support and help each other.
Yeah, I
And
think people are thinking more locally now. For a while, everybody wanted to build a global business and reach across the world. But I think a lot of people have found success just thinking about a smaller local market, just a little niche that they can fit into and be successful and be helpful to the people that are struggling with whatever that niche happens to be.
yeah, yeah, so I think those ideas are pretty neat. Same, of course, a lot of people started cooking for neighbors, a lot of love in that, um, so and that gave a lot of these avenues for not only spread the love, but also a lot of work for actually whole neighborhood. So to look forward to, I think COVID has really it's very hard to see a lot of deaths, and very hard to But I think our existence is also based on being creative and just thinking that whatever our routine was is probably, in my opinion, gone forever. I don't think we'll ever go back to. Um, can it? I mean, we wish. I think that when it initially started, people were looking for every 3 months, 6 months. Oh, it'll be over. Let's do party again and
Yeah.
all. And I think that is kind of sad. Also, look at driving. So roads and there's less traffic, less pollution, less mileage on the car. I mean, I used to drive 300 miles a week, and I mean, I'm not driving even 1/10 of it. So then, the whole idea is, was that worth it, or was that? Um, so I think there's new model for medicine. We are doing telemedicine a lot, and it can really help. People don't have to be coming into the office, and I think good thing they have seen is medicine. They have seen with flu, beside COVID, we can control that with distancing. We can also control flu. So the flu
Oh,
is really low on the numbers so far. Knock on wood, and we
yeah.
hope it keeps. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
then the whole idea is that I think technology is there. We have, of course, technology. Look at the vaccines. The vaccines before the flu vaccine was used to be based on 1900 technology. Now we have mRNA technology, and which is still 30 years old, but it's far better technology. And the question is, can we do with these kind of technology, mRNA, can we treat other disease? Yes, we can. Even flu, we can treat. Those some of what I see. This mRNA probably will blossom into more advanced to treat genetic disease. You know, or even these disorders, for example, Parkinson's or diabetes and other. This this is just the beginning.
Oh,
That.
it amazes me how advanced science and technology, it just grows exponentially every year.
Hmm.
There's so much new information.
Yeah, and the problem was it was there 30 years. This technology was developed 30 years ago, but they never used it because there was nobody pushed those limits.
Yeah.
With COVID, it really pushed us to creativity. It's forcing us, all of us. We are under stress, a lot of stress, and then stress can really also bring best out of you. If you believe in yourself, and if you are creative, so definitely, you will, if you keep working like we have focused on, like I was watching these, markets emerging, and people are helping more each other and paying more attention to family life, because the kids are home, they are spending more quality time. Probably that should have been done long time ago, right?
Well, and
So
that's one thing I maybe shouldn't say enjoyed, but I have enjoyed about the pandemic and being at home. I have, like I said, two girls. One's a teenager and one's in college, but they're old enough. I can literally feel time slipping through my fingers like sand. I mean, normally I would have only seen my oldest child maybe once a week, maybe,
mm,
because of work schedules and school and whatnot. And the younger one I might see every day, but again, teenager, so you get maybe 3 words out of them, and that's pretty much it
mm,
for the day. But because we've been home, anytime she feels like having a conversation, she can walk up to me and just start talking. And she does, which is fantastic. I love that she is sharing her frustrations and her joys and her whatever's going on with her,
mm,
because we're here together. And I think she feels more comfortable doing that than
mm,
she would otherwise if she was, had more access to her friends or whatever. So I agree. I think the pandemic has really changed everyone's view on what really is important in life and what isn't, and what are we capable of doing,
Mm.
and that kind of thing.
And also, for the lifestyle, for the health, I would say, COVID was actually, it is still, of course, is, test of our health. So, health as well as health system. So health wise, if you are healthy, if you have lesser comorbidities, then, you are actually better off. You can survive that. In my opinion, if you have more disease processes and you were on 10 medications and not taking care of your health seriously, that actually was not desirable point. And when you're fighting COVID, because it kind of tested your health actually and your body, and then people who had some issues, they were more prone to that. And so that is another thing which probably, so the biggest risk factor, one few of them dying from COVID or complications were weight, diabetes, high blood
Mhm.
pressure. So those are, unfortunately, people were kind of not paying attention to those, And so health is, in my opinion, so it brought very, highly important topic to discuss was, our lifestyle. So, and what do we do out of? So the best test it was to, if you know your body, and if your body is to, can fight any infection better, if it's to the baseline is better. So that
Yeah.
definitely. So if for businesses, yes, I feel sorry for a lot of restaurants. My favorites, of course, and yours too.
Oh, sure.
I think closed down, and that's sad. But I have a feeling that they will come back, and then they gradually. I think there was some sign some will come back for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I know. A lot of them are doing takeout and things like that. They're doing the best they can to stay open. And I think a lot of people have been generous too, that maybe even aren't going there to buy food. They're just donating to them or tipping extra large, little things like that. I think a lot
Mhm.
of people are doing to help out as best you can.
Mhm. Yeah, and that is so true that, and I remember that I was doing, when it was worst time initially, and still it is, I make sure that I go to these, uh, a, a, stores and groceries and check on them and make sure they are doing well. So I
Yeah,
think those are kind of good things to watch and take care of
definitely.
that. What is your advice now? I know you do a lot of business coaching. So give us some of the tips or some of things you would like to share for them.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, so my business coaching tends to focus a lot on helping people get focused, get organized, stay organized. For so many people, when you start a business, or even if you've been in business for a while and there's a lot of big changes like there have been, it can just feel so overwhelming. What do you focus on? What do you need to do next? What is the thing that needs to get worked on before the next thing, right? So that's where I can really help, because I can help people create SMART goals. Is one of the things that I talk about a lot, which is creating goals that are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. So instead of just saying, I need to build my Facebook group, which is a common goal a lot of people have Facebook groups. A SMART goal will be, I need to utilize Instagram trains 3 times a week to invite 20 people a day into my Facebook group. You can see the difference there. The SMART goal tells you what you're doing, how you're going to do it, gives you a number so you know, have you achieved it or not? So you have that sense of accomplishment. I did that 5 days a week. I am successful. as opposed to, oh my gosh, my Facebook group only got 20 people this week. I feel like a loser, right? So that's one of the things that I talk about. And plan weekly, prioritize daily is the other really big nugget that I talk about a lot. When you look ahead at your week, personally and professionally, because of course, as entrepreneurs, those interact all the time, and figure out, okay, on Wednesday, my child has this thing going on. And on Thursday, I have to go to the dentist. So that means I need to schedule 2 hours on Friday to work on my marketing, right? You go ahead and schedule those big chunks of time to work on those things that otherwise, if you don't schedule them, they just don't get done. They just keep getting put off because there's no immediate reward. So marketing is one of those things that I find a lot of people just put off, don't do. And then they have a client leave or something changes. All of a sudden they don't have the income and they panic market because they haven't been paying attention to it. So again, if you plan weekly and something changes during the week, well, you've already got an idea of what's going on. So you can flex, you can adjust as you need to and not feel out of control, not feel so overwhelmed. So those are just a couple of the things that I talk about and I teach to the people that I work with.
Okay, but that is very nice and simple and very straightforward, and that focus on weekly and prioritize daily, and that is actually a really nice way to kind of get organized, because then you can do a lot and you feel good that you got things done. I think what really
Yeah.
irritates somebody is that that they're working, but still 10 things left out, and then not done at the end of the week, right? So
Exactly. You've got this long list of things that you want to get done for the week. Oh, sorry, my cat's coming to visit.
oh, the cat is excited.
Yeah, he likes to come at the most inopportune times. But now he won't come over.
Oh, that is so cute.
There's my kitty. You gonna say hi?
Hello, how are you doing?
We'll just pull him down a little bit.
Okay,
There we go. He's just looking for a lap. But as I was saying, you get that weekly, that long list of things to do, and when you're not checking any of them off, or they're really big things and they're actually 6 steps to do that one thing on your list, it can feel just really disheartening because you're busy all the time, but you don't feel like you're making any progress or getting anything done or building your business. So that's one of the things I really like to help people with, is to overcome that and work through that so they actually start making progress in their business.
Okay. Also, I'd like to know from you. I know you've been in corporate world for longest time. So, what are some of the desirable qualities anybody should have be successful in corporate, in your role or in as an employee?
So I worked for very large corporations, General Electric, General Motors, places like that. And they have a culture around process improvement. And that is one of the biggest things, is being able to look at a process and what's working, what's not, measuring it, and then tweaking it to make it better. And that's just something that when you can be creative and think outside the box with the process to make it better is absolutely fantastic.
So what you're saying is basically have that. I mean, nobody's perfect, so we need to be creative. First, identify the problem and try to come up with.
Things change all the time. Things change in the corporate world. Focuses change. So a process that might have worked just fine suddenly might not be quite good enough because they moved the goals, right? We don't want just 100 new customers. We want 150 new customers. Okay, well, then we're going to have to kind of tweak the way we've been doing things, automate things, be more efficient and effective, things like that.
So automation, of course. So automation is a big thing on that. And also, so efficiency, of course, so if you are more efficient in that time, and like you said, in corporate world, you have to be constantly more and more, believe in innovation, creativity, and keep bringing more variety to your, even, looking at yourself and see what is the best way to kind of be more efficient.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be stagnant, right? So I think
Right.
stagnation is
Got to keep learning all the time. Yes.
all.
There's always somebody coming up with a new process or new idea to make things better. And it's so important to keep up with that.
Mhm. And it is a competitive world. I mean, it always will be competition. um,
Yeah.
you know the, if we are not reinventing or reconfiguring things, then somebody will, and they will beat that, and will be dinosaur like
Yeah,
extinct.
exactly. Right. Somebody else will get ahead of you.
Yeah, sure. And then, the time does not wait for anyone. So, you have to be at the top speed all the time. Yeah, that is so true. The corporate world is like that. So some of the basic things, work ethics wise, or anything you would like to advise our newer, entry
I
level?
think one of the biggest things is honesty and integrity. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you find that you can't, which does happen, you might commit to something and then discover you can't, communicate ahead of time. Don't wait and then somebody says, "Where is it?" And you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't get it done." Say ahead of time, "I thought I could get it done by Friday, but these 5 other things popped up that took priority. It looks like it's going to be Monday. Is that okay?" I have found almost without exception that when you communicate ahead of time that something's happened, something's changed, you're having problems with it, that people are fine with that. Or if they're not, they are willing to help you work through that. Hey, let me get Sam over here to help you out with that so you can meet that deadline, that kind of thing. Whereas if you don't communicate, that doesn't happen, and it just causes all kinds of bad feelings and swirl, and it's just bad. So keep your commitments, but if something changes, communicate immediately about that change.
Okay, it was such a pleasure learning about your business coaching and so forth. Thank you for coming to our show. Any final message you have for our audience?
I just encourage people that no matter where you are or what you're doing in your life, make sure that you have some support there, whether it's your family or friends or whatever. We need that social connection and that social support. Nobody knows everything, and everybody needs help at some point. So reach out when you need that help.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Thank you for being part of our show, and it's been great. I feel that there are so many questions and topics I would like to ask you, and please come back again, because I
Oh,
think,
I would love to come back. You just let me know. I will be
and
there
we'll
for
do
you.
we'll
Okay.
do more of business coaching
Okay.
and
That'd be great.
survival COVID. And
Yeah,
that is,
yeah.
I think, we can really help a lot of businesses, because I think this is what is needed right now, is kind of ideas and kind of share. That's gonna really help a lot of people. Thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been great. I appreciate it.
Thank you.